Okay guys, we're gonna try something a little different this time. In the past I've had you close your eyes and you close your eyes and you felt different sensations and stuff like that. This time we're gonna have a little bit of fun and it's gonna be very different. Can I get you to hold your hands out just like this? Excellent. Wonderful. And sir, what I want you to do, are you a very intuitive person?
I suppose so.
You are?
One might call me intuitive.
All right. Well, I think you are. All right. Look in each other's eyes. Do you feel this, sir?
Yeah, I do.
What do you, can you... Can you feel that?
I can.
What do you feel? Can you explain it to the camera what you feel?
Exactly what it looks like, a cigarette being sprinkled on my hand.
It does.
You feel it?
Yeah.
So this is Stare. It was inspired by the tobacco touch that I taught you earlier that had the time delay. What I wanted to do was turn it into a real time touch to where we could, you know, make it as exciting as possible and have two people looking into each other's eyes and literally have them feel the same sensation. This is probably the most bold touch you'll ever do in your life. And it's really, really exciting to do when you're doing it because, I mean, the reactions are really good. It uses the invisible thread reel, the same hookup that I've taught you for the other ones, and it's very, very easy to do. What you do is you position the spectator one who you are not going to attach the thread to. You're going to bring their hands up and have them extended out, okay? Now what you're going to do is find a spectator to go along with this. I like to find a female for this because of the fact that generally they're the only people that still wear watches, because you have to anchor the thread on something, whether it be a watch or a bracelet or something like that. So you're basically scouting the audience as you're out there, whether it's in close-up or live performance or you're on the street. It doesn't matter. You just have to find somebody with a watch or a bracelet that you can anchor the thread reel to. What you're going to do is you're going to have their arms come up in the same position as the spectator one. At that point, you start talking about energy and you start talking about different sensations and how, you know, perceptive they seem to be, and you just sit there and BS them and you're attaching the wax to the watch or the bracelet or what have you. Now, you're gonna go catty corner because you're gonna go from this spectator's left hand to this spectator's left hand. And what you're going to do is you're simply going to bring out the cigarette and you're going to sprinkle the tobacco on the hand right here on the back as your finger, your pinky, is bouncing the thread up and down on the other spectator's hands. And what's important is to make sure they never break eye contact. That's a huge tip. If you never want them to look down, because if they look down, they could possibly spot the ITE. I'm not ever worried about that. But one thing that does happen is they break the IT a lot when it happens. When they feel the sensation, they'll jump back and it'll break the IT and you'll have to set your reel back up. I mean, it's just such a shocking moment for the spectator. But you want to make sure also that when you're doing it, they never break eye contact. It's really important that you keep eye contact. And I want you to build a connection with each other and focus on each other's energy and try to transfer your energy to this person. And you know, you're just building a story with them, and you know, write your own scripting, go out there and do your own thing with it. But all you're doing is essentially just attaching the wax, their eyes are open, and you're doing a real-time thread reel touch. It's amazingly fun. You just have to have an anchor. That's the key point. And in my opinion, this is the strongest real-time touch you could possibly do. The fact that both people's eyes are open. Nobody's keeping their eyes shut. Nobody's over. I mean, everything's right there in the open. And that's what makes it so powerful. It's unlike any other PK touch in the world. And you know, you both have both people staring. And my inspiration was it was originally tobacco, but I wanted to create a way where you could do it with the eyes open. And once I thought of it, I was like, man, this is probably one of the best ideas I've ever come up with. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I'm so excited to share it with you. I hope you guys enjoy it. So now I'm going to teach you the cleanup for stare. In the studio performance, the gentleman was wearing a bracelet, and I could attach the wax to any part of the bracelet. If you borrow a watch, you want to attach it to the head of the watch or the face of the watch. If you borrow, for example, in this case, a bracelet, you don't want to attach it to the leather because it's not going to stick as good. So I'm going to attach it to the emblem itself. All you're going to do is push in and then keep it there. Sir, can I see your other hand? And you get it in position, and you're doing this very quick, in a quick motion. I'm over exaggerating how long the time takes. Now what's important is, you see how the thread is here? You want to make sure when you attach it that you have it in this position here. That way it's not touching the spectator at all. Now what's also important is, as you back up, make sure the thread is tight, because you're going to come down in a little bit and drop it. Now to clean up, it's the exact same thing. First being, if they're wearing a bracelet, I simply have them put their hand down and I say thank you very much. And at this point I'm stealing the wax off and just dropping it, and it's going to shoot into my coat via the thread reel. Let's say your spectator was wearing a watch. You simply come in, you shake their hand, you attach the watch, you loop it over so it doesn't hit their hand, and you say, I just want you to keep your hands here for me. Now even though it hits, they're not going to notice it because it's not a big deal at first. It's not only going to become a big deal whenever you do the actual rubbing motion, but you want to keep it up for the most part. Now taking it off, I'm going to show you two ways to take the thread off of the watch. First, you come in, you loop, and you peel it straight off of the watch, just like so. Now all I do is let go and it shoots up my coat. Or you can pick up and take it off from a PK watch routine. Sir, do you mind if I borrow your watch a second? Wonderful. At this point, I would simply peel it off, just like that, and I would let it go right up into my sleeve. Now some of you may not have a PK time routine. I'm going to show you one that I use at the Bellagio, and it served me well for well over 15 years. It's one of my favorite ones because you're not restricted from having someone name a number between 10 and whatever. This is purely psychological, and it's very easy to do, and I love it. The first thing you're going to want to do when you borrow the watch is show everybody the time on it. That way they can verify that the watch has actually changed when showing it. All we're going to be concerned with is the minute hand. As you take the watch back, you're going to pop it with the middle fingernail and pull the watch stem out. This gives you the ability to roll the time forward. Now what I roll it with is, I'm going to have it right here on the first break or line on my hand, and I'm just going to simply push forward as I ask them, wow, this is a very nice watch. What kind is it? Like I'm just looking at the watch. And I set it to 16 after. Once you set the watch to 16 or 17 after, you're going to have them pick a spectator to put the watch in their hand. So let's say they say this gentleman over here. You set it face down in their hand and you push their fingers over the watch. It's very, very important that you do that. You literally are shutting their hand. Now the reason you do that is, and you say, I don't want you to peek at it just yet. Now you're doing that as a convincer because now you know that their hand is shut and they're not going to open it. Very, very important. Now I'm going to show you how to force that number 16 or 17. The first thing I do is I have the spectator draw the outline of a circle. And I say, I want you to draw like a clock. And they're standing right next to me. And I say, this is going to be the minute hand. This is a psychological thing. They think they can go all the way around, okay? I want you to put your right hand first, and then directly behind it, the hour hand is going to be behind it, just like this. So it'll look like that. So the whole premise of this is when they move their hand down, they can only go so far because it becomes very uncomfortable to the spectator. Remember, the right hand is the minute hand and the left hand is the hour hand. We're not worried about the hour hand, we're just gonna move the minute hand. Now, as they move their hand, it becomes uncomfortable and they stop right around here. Now that's around 20 after, but you don't want to call 20 after, it's too perfect. So what you say is, it's roughly 17 after. And as you do this presentation, let's say it's at 16, it's going to be a minute or so for the presentation, so it's going to end up at 17, roughly 17, 18 minutes. So they're not going to be able to really tell, and it's close enough to where it's a hit. Now the exciting thing about this is the presentation, and it's so much fun to do, because what I do is I have the spectator draw the clock with me. I come around. That's a psychological subtlety that they can move their hand freely all the way around. You do it quick and nonchalant. And you say, I just want you to go ahead and move your hand anywhere you want. And they start moving their hand. And if you can tell they're gonna stop here, say just keep going and stop wherever you want. That's very important because you want them to go all the way down. So let's say they're here. No, go ahead and keep going and stop wherever you want. I want to make this as fair as possible. Even though I'm kind of blocking them into a corner, it seems fair still. Now, once they're here, I like to come in and shake like I'm doing real PK and moving it with my actual mind. And then you go to the spectator who has the watch in their hand, and you say, I want you to turn the watch over. And as they turn the watch over, what's awesome is now it's 17 after. But you're gonna miscall the 20. There's no lines on your hand, so you can't tell where it is. That's the beauty of it. So that's roughly 17 after. Sir, would you open your hand up? Would you tell everybody what time it is? And they'll say it's 17 after, and it gets a great reaction because they could have went anywhere they want in their mind, but they stopped right here. And that's only because they can't move their hand any further. And that's my variation of PK time. I hope you guys enjoyed it and as well learned how to take the wax off and feel confident in doing so. It's very easy, and that's the cleanup for stare. Shani, what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes for me. And I want you to take a deep breath in and out, completely relaxing. And I want you to go to your happy place, no matter what that may be. And I want you to think of the things you love in life, whether it be sitting at the beach or going to the mountains, whatever you like doing. And I want you to think of your favorite animal. And I want you to concentrate on it and take deep breaths in and out. They say when you close your eyes, your other senses become more active, or when you lose your sight. What I'd like you to do is take a deep breath in and smell. Do you smell anything at all?
Yeah, I do.
What do you smell?
For a second it smelled kind of like a little bit of fire. Now it's like a little bit more sweet.
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Like perfume or like a flower.
What kind of flower?
Like a rose.
Can you open your eyes up? Look over at him.
What?
And you can actually keep that as a souvenir.
Does it actually smell?
No? That's crazy.
So what did you experience exactly?
I just started smelling a bit of a sweet smell and kind of smelled like perfume, and then the smell developed more into the smell of a rose, and then you gave me a paper rose, and then he was holding a real rose, which makes me think that I was smelling what he was smelling, which doesn't make sense, but...
You know what? You've been great today. You can take that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. Now this is a touch that come from one of my routines that used all 5 senses. And I'm bringing this particular one out to show you how to do it in a PK touch situation, which, similar to blow, is not actually a touch, but it's a smelling sensation. So it makes it very unique and very different. Now, I came up with this routine, like I say, about 15 years ago when I was doing, my brother's in-law is blind. So I came up with one for taste so he can experience it and smell and stuff like that. I wanted him to be able to experience magic. So I started playing with other senses, and this is one of the ones I came up with. And it works really, really great in a PK touch type scenario. The first thing you're going to want to learn how to do is make a paper rose out of a napkin. There's several different napkins that you can buy. I prefer the dinner napkins because they're longer and you can make a long stem red rose. And I just think it looks a little prettier than like with a cocktail napkin or something like that. Now, all you're gonna do is simply unfold it. There's still two sides, but it's just folded in half. So it's not really a big deal. The first thing you're going to do is you're gonna clip it like scissors right here at the edge of the napkin. You're gonna roll it around, make sure it stays straight. So now it's wrapped around the first finger. Now we're gonna take it one time around the middle finger. And we're gonna straighten everything up. And you're going to grab it with the crotch of your hand right here. And you're going to squeeze and kind of shape the rose like that by pushing in. And when you push in, it shapes it into a flower phase. Now, all you're gonna do is pull down at that point and twist. So you hold here with your thumb and first finger, and you're pulling down and you're twisting. Very, very simple. But the harder you twist, the tighter the rose is, which makes it very, very nice. And I like doing it, I like making it very tight rose. So you just pull down, I'm holding here very tightly, and I'm pulling and turning. Now, when you get about, I don't know, halfway down, a little over halfway down, what you're gonna do then is you're gonna take the bottom corner and you're gonna push it up, just like this, and you're gonna fold it down. So now it looks like it's got a little petal on it. Let me show you that again, just so you get it. You're gonna come underneath to the top and you're gonna push it up, and then you're gonna sculpt it down so it looks like just a little leaf on the rose. And now again, after you've done that, you're going to pull and turn the rest of the way down. And that's how you make a paper rose. So now we have the paper rose. The only other items you need to perform this effect are a red rose that's real. You don't want to use an artificial one because an artificial one, they'll tell it's artificial. Yeah, you can get more uses out of it, but even on stage, if you perform stage magic, you always buy a fresh rose every time because you don't want they're smelling it. And the whole sensation is that they're smelling it while the other person is smelling it. So just always make sure you go out and get a fresh one before performance. Lastly, you'll need some rose essence. You can buy it online, if you just Google rose essence, and it comes in a big bottle. So you'll be able to actually get it at a fairly cheap price. I think you can order it on walmart.com as well. Now, I'm personally using a perfume that's rose smell. And what you want to do if you're using like a perfume or the essence, you're going to put it right here on the top of your hand. And then you're going to spread it down to the finger and rub it around. The reason being is if you shoot it directly on your finger, it's going to be so overbearingly powerful smelling wise that it's almost unbelievable. So I'm simply just rubbing some down onto my finger like that. And that's all the preparation you need to perform the rose effect. What you're going to do is, and this is a nice subtle note that my friend Herman come up with, and he said, instead of making the rose in front of the spectator, why don't you do it where you get about right here and then have them shut their eyes. That way they don't know what you're gonna make. And I thought that was a brilliant idea because you know what, they're not seeing a flower, so they're still gonna smell it, but they don't know what you're making. So it's kind of not obvious as to what's going on. Another great note that he had that I really, really liked was, actually this note came from my friend Jans, and what he said is to have not a strong cologne on, or if you're a smoker, you may want to not smoke an hour before your performance. Wash your hands really, really good before you put the essence on, because you don't want to smell it. And you really, the only thing you want is that smell of the rose on your hand. Now I'm going to get in on how to perform the effect. So the eyes are closed, you're still making the rose. And what happens is, after you've made the rose, you simply pull a rose out of your pocket and you hand it to the spectator who has their eyes open. The person with their eyes closed, preferably a woman. You want a woman to sense the sensation of it. So you have the man hold the rose, or you can hold it, whichever you want. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring them up simultaneously. And if they're holding it, you just grab their hand and push it up to their nose. And you say, I want you to take a deep breath in and smell, and tell me what you smell. And then they'll say, oh, I smell like it's flower. Or what kind of flower do you smell? I smell a rose. And then you have them open their eyes up. And this is a truly beautiful moment, because the paper towel's actually in front of them. They're sniffing it. And what you want is you want your hand right here, so they're smelling the incense or the perfume of the rose at the same time that this person is smelling the real rose. So they're smelling your finger. Now what you're going to do is you hand it out to them. It has no smell whatsoever, and you give it to them to keep as a souvenir. A nice little final touch that I do before I give the female the rose is I'll take a lighter, okay? And I'm just gonna burn the edges. It actually makes it look like the rose has some character and definition and not as flat edged. And it's just a pretty souvenir and keepsake that they'll keep and remember you forever. As I said earlier, this is from my personal stage show, a routine I've been performing for well over 15 years. When you're doing it close up or stage, really milk the moment. Really take the time to let this effect, because it's so easy and it's all presentation, really let it just sink in and milk that moment and make the routine just fun and memorable for your spectators. I think you're really going to enjoy Rose. It's real time and it's a beautiful sensation, because it's not a PK touch, it's a PK smell. I got one last thing I want to show you guys this evening, but instead of me doing it, I think you've built up a strong enough connection to where you can do it yourself. Can I see your hand a second? I'm going to try to transfer my energy over to you. Perfect. Now, if you would, just hold your hand out straight forward like this, and I want you to close your eyes and just hold your hand out forward. Now, did you feel anything? How many times did you feel it? Just hold your fingers up. Just hold your fingers up. 3 times? Perfect, perfect. Open your eyes. Now, I was nowhere near her, was I?
No.
What happened?
That was all me.
Show her what you did.
No.
I can do magic too.
Oh my gosh, no, that actually felt like someone was touching me. Oh, that was crazy. That was weird.
Very nice. You've got a lot of power there, buddy. The 3-arm touch is an awesome touch. It's a stage touch that I currently do in my stage show, but I can center it towards the middle. I'll do a touch first, then I'll do this one, and then I'll end with like a real-time touch. The thing that makes this so cool is the fact that you can literally have one spectator touch themselves and another spectator feels it. So you're not doing anything at all. It's completely hands off from their performer's standpoint. And then you have them explain it, and it has the build up and all that. Now, what you do is you have the female spectator go on stage, and as you have the man or the male spectator going up on stage, you mute your mic and you tell him, in a moment, I'm going to go like this. When I do, I want you to touch yourself on your arm in 3 different locations. Okay? Now, he's ready for his cue. Basically, I just instant stooged him. But the difference is, it's still going to fool him, so it's not like he's in on it and he knows what's going on. And it's still going to fool everybody, and it's kind of an instant stooge, but it's really more than that, because anytime you instant stooge somebody and you still fool them, I consider it just a technique that you can use. Now, the thing that's cool, you get them on stage, and you have, preferably when you do this, you always have to pick somebody in a short sleeve shirt, because they will not feel the IT, or invisible thread, coming from the thread reel. It's the exact same hookup as I showed you earlier, and what you do is you get the thread. I'm going to use white thread for intensive purposes. You have them hold their arm straight out, okay? All you're going to do is do the same loop as you did earlier, and you're going to hit them 3 different times on their arm in 3 different locations that you pointed to the guy earlier. Now, I would go touch, touch, touch on the person with their eyes closed with the invisible thread. I'd move my hands around, make it very apparent that I'm nowhere near them. You can really get a lot more space with the invisible thread reel, because you can pull it out further. For this, I just have a piece of thread that's attached, but I like to get about this far away from them and, really make it look like I'm nowhere near them. Now, once you do that, you signal the spectator like this. And then he touches himself 3 times in 3 different locations, just like you showed him on the way up to stage. Now, I say, did you feel anything at all? Any sensations, any feelings? And she'll say, yes, I felt something on my arm 3 times. And to make it just as clear as possible, because I want you to understand this, exactly what's going on. I choose both of them at the same time, the male and the female. Generally, I go for a couple, and I talk about a connection between the 2 of them. Now, the girl goes up on stage first. You have a stagehand there to help her up on stage so she doesn't trip on the stairs or anything, to be polite. Now, they seat her, and as we're walking up and she's being escorted across the stage, I have the gentleman next to me, and I say, in a moment, I'm going to have you touch your arm 3 times like this. Whenever I signal you, it'll look like this. So you say, in a moment, I'm going to have you touch yourself. When I go like this, touch yourself 3 different spots on your arm. Very simple, very easy. He's an instant stooge, but he's still going to be fooled. That's all that matters. He will not understand what went on and how it was accomplished. When you get on stage, I like to have the chairs facing slightly inwards so they can see each other a little bit, but I don't like them like this, because the audience, then you have to walk between them and all that stuff. And it's nice because you can just do it, from here. It just looks better blocking wise to have it like that, with the chairs turned inwards towards the audience. And what you do is you have the woman close her eyes. You're going to come in once again with the thread, with the same loop around the thumb that I covered earlier in tobacco. And you're going to say, wow, I'm sensing a lot of energy around you, and a lot of, you 2 really have a connection. As I'm saying that, I'm hitting her 3 times on her arm with the thread. So it's boom, boom, boom. And I'm talking the entire time. You don't want any dead time there, because that's the misdirection that, what's he doing around her? You want to have some kind of pattern around it, and I like to talk about energy and the connection between the 2. The other thing that's really, really important is to create the distance between the spectator female with her eyes closed to the gentleman with his eyes open. Now, I'll tell you why, nailing the last nail in the coffin, you want to keep distance and you want them to speak about it. And the further you are away, the less or the more impossible it is to touch that person. Now what I do is I stand over next to the male, I signal him, he touches himself 3 times like he was instructed earlier, and I'm basically hitting her with the thread, obviously in the exact same location, and then I say, ma'am, did you feel anything at all? And she obviously says yes. Could you point to where you felt it? This is important. I'm not asking her what she felt or anything like that. That's an important tip that you need to remember. I'm not asking her what she felt. I'm saying, did you feel anything? Could you point to where you felt it at? And she goes like this. And that's a visual cue. So now it's almost like a dual reality with her as well, because she felt thread, but he touched himself, and it's not gonna, the audience is just gonna think, wow, she felt him touch him right there, there, and there. So make sure you say that line. Very important. Where did you feel these sensations? Here, here, and here is what she'll say. And then you're covered. You thank them for their time and their participation, and you build a connection. I like to go into one of the live real-time PK touches after this. I think it's really strong. That is the 3-arm touch. I hope you guys have fun with it. As I said, I've been doing this in my show for probably 10 or 12 years, and it's got a great reaction. I hope you guys go out and do this because you're gonna love it. I'd like to take a moment and talk to you about some performance tips. First of all, always remember that the spectator really needs to be at a distance from you. Also, when using thread work, have a backup thread ready to go. I actually carry 2 reels on me. You don't have to, but I'll have one on the left side and one on the right side. It's just a nice little thing if someone wants to see it again instantly, plus you're already set up to do it again. Another important tip is involving hecklers. We all have them, we all love them very much. Not really, but anyway, I'm gonna show you how to handle this. All you have to do, and it actually puts the heckler in their place, and it's a nice way to cover it. What happens is, you do a touch, they don't feel anything, okay? And you know they felt it because you touched them good. Try it one more time. If they do not feel it, this is all under the disguise of the spectator where they can't see it. They touch them. Then what you do is you position the spectator around and you say, is there any way? And you still go around, but you touch them literally in front of the spectator. Did you feel anything at all? No. Go ahead and open your eyes. And then when you have them open their eyes, what you tell them is, you say, before we begin, I was gonna hypnotize this person to where they couldn't feel anything at all. Now tell him, did I actually touch him? And you're doing a reverse PK touch basically with psychology and stuff like that. It's really awesome. You go into this fact that before their eyes open though, that's the key. Before we begin, I actually hypnotized you to where you wouldn't feel anything at all. Did I touch him at all? Yes, he did. He touched you right here, and you didn't feel anything. You were hypnotized, and then you just explain how you did it. I like to say I shook his hand, brought him in, and just make up some BS, and that's when I inducted him, and through the deep breaths in and out. And that's a great way to handle a heckler. And that's the performance tips section. And I hope you guys take something from it and have fun with it. And hopefully you don't have a heckler, but if you do, you know how to cover it. And I think you guys are ready to go out in the real world after a little bit of practice with blocking. In some cases, the spectator may not be a heckler at all, and they could be intoxicated, or they may have a language barrier, or they may not have sincerely felt the touch. Either way, you don't want to be in the situation where the effect doesn't work. So what you do is you politely, and make sure you're very polite about it, say, you know what, you may not be a receiver, you might actually be a sender. So what I like you to do is stand over here and you switch the roles of the people. And that way it gives you a very, very nice way to do the touch again. But you can do it without actually doing it to the same person twice. Because what happens is you don't want to do the move to the same person, because if you do that, then people are going to kind of catch on to what's going on. But if you do a role reversal and say you might be actually a sender versus a receiver, and that's a justified way to do a role reversal in a situation if someone doesn't feel the touch, and you don't want to sit there and keep doing it, but it makes perfect sense, because you always have to remember they don't know your routine. You're the one that knows it, and they think it's just part of the routine. So just go along with it and it'll work out great for you, I promise. Now that you have an arsenal of PK touches, be it impromptu or real time, or some that take a little bit of prep, you can go out and do this anytime, anywhere. And the great thing about the impromptu touches is you don't have to have anything on you. If you forget your deck of cards at home or you don't have any magic props, you can go into the PK touch routines that I taught you, like for example, guarded and trench touch. And it's just fun, and you can create this like supernatural event for your spectators. Or you could do this on the biggest stage in the world. When I was at the Bellagio, I used to perform PK touches on a nightly basis. And real time or, delayed, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have so much fun with this. And I'm really, really excited to announce this. I have a lot of new products coming out with Sans Minds Magic. I want you to keep an eye out for them. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram for news and updates. I'm Morgan Stribler. Until next time, I'll see you soon.